Hello guys, welcome to my review for It Chapter 2, the sequel to the really great 2017 It movie that I loved. I loved that group of kids in that movie. I loved the Stranger Things, Goonies feel that it had. I really loved that movie, and my biggest thing I had going into this movie, I was really anticipating It Chapter 2. I was really excited for it, but I didn't think the adult storyline would be as compelling as the first one. I didn't think it would have that feel that the first one does, and I'm just going to say now, I thought this movie was really good. Is it as good as the first one? No, because it doesn't have that feel. I think the first one is amazing. I don't think this movie reaches the heights of that one. The feel, I don't think this one is as scary. But I still really love this movie. I think this is really good. And that is mainly due to these characters. I love the cast here. I think the adult versions of these characters are really well done. Not just because the performances match so well up with the childhood performances, but I thought these actors did a great job because they got me caring about these characters again, and I really did care about these characters again. I felt emotionally invested in this story again, and even though it is 27 years later, all these characters have changed. Them coming back to Derry, and becoming friends again and remembering things and everything like that. Their fears coming back, I thought were really good. And the reason why this movie I don't think is as compelling as the original is because the kids have their fears. It's a lot more scarier when they're kids. They're adults here, and it's not as scary. But this one is less about their specific fears. It's more about their fear of losing, and their fear that it is going to do it to many other people. And I feel that that's their fear, that they're not going to succeed again. And each of their characters, I feel, had really great development throughout this movie, and the ending I thought was really emotionally investing. And again, I really cared about these characters once again, which is something I didn't think I was going to. And that was easily my biggest praise with it, but also the direction. This is a really good looking movie. The shots look amazing, and it's just a really good looking movie. The makeup design for Pennywise and everything. Pennywise is probably in this movie about he is in the first one. I loved him in this movie. I thought it was really good. Some of the CGI work on him also was really well done. And this movie is 3 hours long, and a lot of people are going to have things to say about that. But for me, it felt like a huge, thrilling 3-hour epic. This movie doesn't have a three-act structure. The first act is all of them coming back together, the Losers Club, teaming back up, learning about it a bit more. And the second act is basically all of them going on their separate adventures. And that brings me into a couple little problems that I have with the movie. Besides all the problems with it not being as compelling story as the first, or the adult storyline not being as compelling as the kid storyline. Besides all the issues comparing it to the first one, my only real issue I have with this movie is that some scenes in the second act, because it's basically like a section of scenes of all of them doing their separate little adventures, it's a section of different scary moments, and sometimes some of those moments can feel a bit too long or a bit too short, and the pacing does dip a bit there. But as soon as we get back into the third act, I did not want this movie to end, and I loved it. It is a very long movie, and you can really feel the length, but I loved feeling the length. I loved sitting there ages invested in characters and seeing really cool stuff for a long time. And that's why I love these movies, I really do. And it's cool to see a huge horror epic for 3 hours, nearly 3 hours, and it was really exciting to me. There's some elements of the story that I don't think were as compelling, but I was really satisfied with the way they took all these characters, and I really did love all of it. It added to the first one a lot, and it had a lot of little moments in there that I thought were really heartwarming. Some of the flashbacks when they were kids I thought were really nice. They have done some de-aging to some of the kids. It is noticeable, but it didn't bother me. But I thought all those scenes were really heartwarming, and again, I love seeing these adults. Also, the movie doesn't back down from humour. That's mainly due to Bill Hader. I thought he was phenomenal in the film. He had a lot of comedy and emotion to some sequences. I thought James McAvoy was fantastic. I loved how each of these characters were. Loved how his stomach came back when he came back to Derry. That was a really good little element in there that I thought was really well done. And I thought the majority of the characters really ended on a satisfying note. And I was satisfied with how they took all of them, and again, I cared about them even more in this one, and that's something I really did like. But it's still a really well directed movie. There is a lot of jump scares, more than the first one, and some of those do get a bit repetitive, but that didn't really bother me. The movie is not as scary or as psychological, but it is thrilling, and it is really good to look at. All the designs and everything are really, really good. I pretty much loved every scene in this movie, and I think this movie's pretty underrated. Is it as good as the first one? No. There are many, many issues I can find in this movie, but all the issues I find in it too are all when you compare it to the first one. I think the 3 hour length was really cool. I really, really loved it. And put these two movies together, they're great companion pieces with one another. And It Chapter 2, I think, is a really good sequel. I think this movie did a good job, and it surprised me because I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did. And I thought It Chapter 2 was satisfying, it was really good. Not as scary, not as psychological, and interesting as the first movie. That's due to the perspective shift, with this one being about the adults and the other one being about the children. But this one I still really loved. I think this is a great movie. And, even though any little flaws you can pick out, I can pick out quite a lot of flaws in this film and little issues here and there. But I know when I watch a film, and I love it. And It Chapter 2, I loved. I'm gonna give It Chapter 2 an A- and an 8.6 out of 10. I really did like this film. I thought it was really good, and I was really satisfied with it. Guys, comment down below your opinions on It Chapter 2 if you did see it, and of course, thanks for watching, and goodbye.